We are ranking all of the new foundations from best to worst. I have tested a lot of foundations this year, particularly in the last 6 months, and I'm actually going to rank them in terms of how nice they look on the skin, how well they last on the skin, whether or not they cake up, break, and separate. Like, I have literally tested everything, and I'm ready to deliver my final opinion. Now, just to keep things spicy, I'm going to start with worst, and we're going to work our way up to number 1. So in last place of the new foundations that I have tested, the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin. Now, this is a very, very glowy formula. It's meant to give the skin like this sort of perfecting skin look. For me, I find that it tends to emphasize the texture, and with my oily skin, it gets really shiny. It starts to cake up and separate, particularly around my jaw. It's just really not my favorite foundation. I will say though, when mixed in with other foundations, it does work beautifully. So if you've got like a really matte foundation that, you know, maybe you feel like is a little bit too heavy and a little bit too much on the skin, you can mix a little of this in and it definitely shears it out and kind of makes it a little bit more glowy. I've got other glowy foundations that I adore that just last better on the skin. So yeah, this one is in last place for me. In second last place, the Makeup Forever HD Skin Foundation. Now, I don't actually have it here anymore. I did do a full like first impression and review on it, but it was the wrong shade for me. So I actually gave it to a friend and she's using it and loving it. She's got a much more combo normal skin type than I do. So just imagine that it is here. Now, I have used the original HD foundation. You know, that was a makeup artist's favorite years ago, but so many more formulations have actually come out that it kind of got a little bit left behind. So Makeup Forever did relaunch that formula, and it was a really nice foundation, but when stacked up against all the other ones that I have tried this year, it just didn't hold its weight. So it is a really lightweight formula, feels very breathable and weightless on the skin. But the thing that I have found about this particular foundation, and I have tested it on other people, like with different skin types to me, is you kind of already have to have perfect skin for it to really work for you. So if you've got a lot of acne scarring, a lot of texture, a lot of enlarged pores, you're particularly oily, it just doesn't lend itself too well to those skin types. If you've got like model perfect poreless skin, which let's be real, if you do, how? How? Third last, I've got the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. Now, I know that there are a lot of people out there that adore this formula and say that, you know, it is their holy grail foundation, but for me, this is nothing on Sheer Glow. Like, Sheer Glow foundation from Nars does what I wish this foundation would do. Don't get me wrong, it still does look really pretty on the skin, and it definitely, you know, helps to blur the skin and like minimize pores and texture and stuff, but it doesn't look anywhere near as perfecting and as, I don't know, airbrushed as Sheer Glow. This one I definitely do, like with an oily skin type, I definitely find that I do need to touch up. It does get quite shiny, especially through the T-zone, and I do get a little bit of caking and separation, like once we're at about the 8-hour mark. Like it's not a bad formula, but it's certainly not my favorite formula from Nars. Next up, I have the She Glam Skinfluencer. The official name is the Full Coverage Foundation Bar. This is quite a nice foundation. Insanely affordable. Like, this is by far the most affordable foundation that I've got in this lineup. This is a balm foundation. It is very, very hydrating, but it is insanely full coverage. Gives a really pretty kind of soft finish glow sort of to the skin. It's meant to be the dupe to the KVD Apple foundation. I actually hated the Apple foundation. I just found that I don't know, my skin just did not like it at all. I actually far prefer this formula. This one lasts really well on the skin. Like on my oily skin, I can wear this one for like 8 to 10 hours and it looks great. I do have to set it all down with powder, obviously, and touch it up with powder, but it's really nice. And especially for the price, they've got quite a good shade range too. This is like, they've done a great job on this formula. So yeah, I definitely recommend this one. And like, you're probably all shocked to find that this one outperforms the Nars one, but it honestly does. Okay, next up, the Rare Beauty Foundation. And again, I don't actually have it anymore because it wasn't quite the right shade match. I've given it to another friend. She's a little bit more tanned than me. I need to pick it up in another color because honestly, it was a really beautiful foundation. Very lightweight on the skin, very kind of like velvety and blurring. I found that it dried down really nicely, but it didn't feel tight at all, wasn't sticky during the day, and it didn't really cake or separate too much. I certainly need to touch up with powder, again being an oily skin type, but it's just a very easy, everyday, natural kind of a foundation. It's like light to medium buildable. I really like the packaging. It was just not the right color for me. It's on my list of things that I need to purchase again, and I absolutely will be repurchasing it, but not a bad formula at all. I need to try the Rare Beauty Tinted Moisturizer. I've heard great things about that, but yeah, the Rare Beauty one sits in about the middle for me. Okay, next up, the L'Oreal Nude True Match Nude Tinted Serum. I was blown away with how nice this is. I don't know, I was expecting it to be super sheer and super glowy and like just emphasize all my texture and everything, but it honestly did not at all. It actually wore really, really beautifully on my skin. And by the time that I got to the end of the wear test, and I will be linking all the wear tests for all of these foundations so that you can go and see them, but by the time I got to the end of the wear test, I was like, I should be so much oilier than I am. Like, where are the oils? It just held up so incredibly well. So this is like a hybrid skincare and foundation product. It's meant to be a tinted serum, obviously, but I would call it like a buildable, light to medium buildable coverage. It gives the skin this really pretty plump and glowy kind of effect, but without being sticky or heavy or tacky. I think this is amazing, and it does have hyaluronic acid in it, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons why my skin loves it so much, because me and hyaluronic acid, like, girl, we get along. We do. It's just so good for the price. Like, it doesn't seem legal to me. Honestly, this is another one that's great for like natural, kind of no makeup sort of days. But if you pair this with a little bit of concealer, beautiful medium coverage, looks amazing. Okay, we're getting into the top 4 favorites now. This is exciting. The Giorgio Armani Power Fabric Foundation. Now, I will preface this is insanely expensive. This is a very lightweight, quite matte formula that gives so much coverage. I would say that this one is similar to the Nars Soft Matte Complete Foundation, which is another one of my favorites. I adore that foundation. Just very, very lightweight on the skin, but it still delivers like coverage. It's very long wearing. You can put this one on in the morning, wear it all day and not really have to worry too much about your foundation. I did find that this one did settle into my fine lines on my forehead and a little bit around my mouth. And it's funny, sometimes when I wear it, like I've got like no texture at all, but then other times when I wear it, I kind of find myself looking in the mirror like, oh, can you see my pores more than usual? And I think that that depends on the hydration level of my skin on that day. So if you are a particularly dry skin type, you're probably going to hate this. I think that this will be too drying and too matte and it'll just come off looking papery. But if you are really oily, I think that you'll love this. And my skin's been playing up a little bit lately because it is winter here. I am always drier in winter than I am in the other months. So some days I'm just like pouring out oil and some other days I'm like, oh, I should be shinier. Overall, a beautiful formula. Do I like it more than Luminous Silk? No. I think if you were going to choose between this formula and the Luminous Silk formula, I would go for the Luminous Silk because that just looks like a filter in a bottle, but it is really nice. Okay, my third favorite of the new foundations that I have tested is the Lisa Eldridge foundation. This is another foundation that I was completely blown away by. This just makes your skin look perfect. Like, there is no real better way to describe it. This is a medium buildable coverage foundation, but it honestly covers everything for me. I find that it covers redness, it covers darkness, and you can actually layer this and build it without it getting cakey or heavy on the skin. Feels like you're not even wearing a foundation when you wear it. Blurs pores, it minimizes imperfections, and it minimizes texture. It is just amazing. The only thing is, and the only downside to this, is it is insanely expensive. Also is kind of annoying, and this is something so small, and you know, I'm just looking for things to pick so that you guys can help really make up your minds, but it's kind of annoying that the bottle doesn't stand up. Like, it has to lay on its side, and for me, I'm triggered by that as far as storage goes. Like, I really like to sort of stand all my foundations up side by side, but like, if you want your face to look perfect, this, oh, amazing. My second favorite new foundation, the Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow. Honestly, you guys, this is beautiful. And this foundation whenever I wear this, I literally have people stopping me being like, excuse me, what is on your skin? Like, your skin looks so incredible. This is a glowy foundation, but it's not so glowy that you look shiny or oily or sweaty. And it is incredibly perfecting. It gives like a very soft kind of like candlelit glow to the skin, minimizes pores, minimizes texture. It never looks dry. This one doesn't settle into any of my fine lines, and I've worn it so many times now. So on the days when I am super oily and also on the days when I'm drier in winter, it just always looks perfect. And I feel like this one is just not getting the hype that it deserves. I did do a full first impressions and review video on this one, and honestly, it was one of my least clicked foundation reviews. Maybe it's got something to do with the price, or I'm not sure. But like, don't sleep on this, you guys. This will make your skin look perfect and glowy. It has a glow that actually lasts. Like, it's not a glow that's like sticky that you're like, oh, I need to touch up straight away. Like, it just beautiful. It is a beautiful foundation. And then last but not least, the pick of the pack, the one that I find to be better than them all, my favorite foundation that I have tested this year. This one from Clinique, and I did not expect to love this as much as I do. This is the Even Better Clinical Serum Foundation. Now, this is a serum foundation, so again, like the L'Oreal one, it is infused with skincare. And normally when you think of a serum foundation, you think low coverage, sheer, glowy, like barely there kind of makeup. No, she is not messing around. This is a full coverage moment. This is probably even more full coverage than the Giorgio Armani, and I'm not even sure if it's meant to be, but it is seriously amazing. This blurs every single pore on my face. It perfects everything, and it is like paint. This one will not transfer off. It will not cake. It will not separate. I never find that I even need to touch this one up. Like the Hourglass one, definitely by about the 8-hour mark, I'm like, oh, I really could go some more powder. This one, no. This one lasts into the night. Like, put it on at 6 a.m. It still looks perfect at like 10 p.m. at night. It's absolutely ridiculous. And even though it is so full coverage and so perfecting and like it literally looks like you have photoshopped your face, even though all of that is going on, it is still insanely lightweight. Like, it doesn't even feel like you are wearing a full coverage foundation. I don't know. I had been sitting on this for ages. Like, this was actually sent to me in PR months ago, and I don't know, I never got around to actually testing it. I wish that I had, because it is seriously insane. It's the foundation that literally does everything. Like, I feel like this one does everything that all of the other ones do put together. So there we have it. All of the new foundations ranked from best to worst. Pretty large list. Like, I test a lot of foundations. I have spent a lot of money on foundations, I will say. And it's really interesting because when you test a new foundation, obviously you love it and you've got it on your skin and you're wearing it all day and you're like, yes, it looks really nice. But then when you stack them all up together, things can kind of look a little bit different. It's been a really interesting process. I've really enjoyed ranking all of these foundations for you. Let me know if you want to see other products ranked. So primers, concealers, bronzers, blushes, eyeshadow palettes, lipsticks. I would love to rank everything. Turns out I'm a ranker. It's my thing now. It's definitely going on my CV. But I hope that you guys found this video helpful. As always, if you've got any questions about any of these formulas, please reach out. Please leave a comment down below, or you can get me, through DMs or anything. I'm always here to help whenever you need anything at all. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that it was helpful. Give it a thumbs up if you did and share it. It really does help me out. I love you guys heaps, and I'll catch you in my next video.